Welcome to another episode of Thursday Thoughts with me, Alec Jiggins. I'm a executive leadership and teams coach, and I help leaders maximize their performance by making micro adjustments to their leadership behaviors and really empowering their team to change and transform their organizations and their results. So I want to talk to you today about how leadership is in the eye of the follower. It always has been. Doesn't matter what you think of yourself as a leader, it matters what your team thinks of you as a leader. Now, here's a question for you. Are you the kind of leader that is going to be summed up, whose legacy is going to be an iconic meme? Or are you going to be the kind of leader who is ridiculed in a meme? You see, in the past, we would congregate around the coffee pot or the water cooler, and we would talk about sports and politics and life. And invariably, the conversation shifts into the boss, the leaders. And that's when it was determined whether you were good or not. Now you're more likely to be immortalized in a meme and shared around in the staff WhatsApp. It's human nature. Everybody from kids in school through to professionals in the office does it. And there are two kinds of memes. There are the memes of the example to follow, the inspiration, the motivation, or there are the memes of the cautionary tale. So you're either respected or you're ridiculed. And deep down, you know I'm right on the money with this, okay? We may be professionals, but we also have a sense of humor. So I remember joining an organization at the beginning of my career, and there was a young executive, seemed to have it all together, but he came and welcomed me, and he'd barely gone around the corner in the office when colleagues started to talk about how he was not there for the good of the team, how he was egocentric, how he was self-serving. And sure enough, that person didn't last long, and their surname became like the office slang for a bad leader. Leadership is a contact sport, and it's your team who determine whether or not you're any good. Your boss may be the one signing off the annual review, but it's your team that has the final say. And this is why it's so important, because it's their discretionary effort that is the true currency in a high-performing team. If you're considered to be a good boss, your team will go the extra mile again and again. They'll have your back because they know that you're there alongside them and that they can trust you. They see your commitment, your discipline, your humility. They know that you're going to recognize their effort and that you're going to have their back, because they're going to drop a ball. You're going to drop a ball. We all drop balls. If you're not dropping balls, you're not playing a big enough game. You're playing a small game. So when colleagues get together and they talk about you, is it out of respect or is it out of ridicule? Now, there are many theories about great leaders. You've got Daniel Goleman and his emotional intelligence. You've got Jim Rohn, who talks about, humility and discipline. And you can read all of the books and you can take the courses and you can hit the seminars. But acquiring knowledge just in and of itself isn't going to make you a better leader. And here's why not. See, the challenge you've got is not understanding the practice of leadership. Okay, because if it was just acquiring knowledge, we'd all be amazing at everything. I'd be playing the violin and, beating Nadal at tennis. But it's not just the knowledge, it's the putting it into action. So if you think about it, there's knowledge, there's action. And on the other side of action is the excellence and the competence, because you're disciplined, you're taking that action every day, you're getting feedback, you're listening, and you're refining your strategy and your approach. That's what makes a great leader. It's the practice. And unfortunately, you've got to be vulnerable and you've got to be authentic to be a great leader, because you need to find out from your followers what they think of your leadership. And you've got to do that before you become immortalized in a meme. So Ken Blanchard says that feedback is the breakfast of champions, and he's right, but it only gets you part of the way, because feedback by the very nature is looking backwards at what you've already done. So that's good, but you also want some feed forward, because it points the direction for you Okay, and you've got to have the courage and humility to ask for it. You've got to be able to say to your colleagues, to your direct reports, to your peers, to your boss, I want to get better at being a communicator, or I want to be better at delegating. What ideas have you got? What sort of behavior should I be doing? What kind of action should I be taking to become better at this? And checking in with them when you're doing it and saying, I'm trying this, what do you think? Can I improve on this? Can I refine my approach? Because remember, if you're checking in with your team, leadership is in the eye of the follower. They're going to see that you are committed. They're going to see that you're valuing their input. But I would say discipline is the breakfast of champions. Perhaps feedback is the granola of success, but discipline is quite literally the breakfast for great leaders, because a disciplined leader will get up instead of hitting the snooze button. They'll make sure that they make their bed. They start their day the right way every day, so that when they show up, they're ready to lead. It takes discipline to forge and maintain these good habits. And if you think of habits, they're like links in a chain, okay? Each one linking together and tethering us to our core values, our anchor. And that they create this nearly unbreakable instinct that only long-term discipline activity can change. And it takes real discipline and consistent application of new behaviors and new ways of thinking to overcome habits and ways of being that are less desirable. So I want to leave this with you. How do you become more disciplined? Well, there's 3 things that you need to know, 3 lessons that I've learned in my life. Number 1, true discipline is not an easy option. It never is. Okay, you can either pay the price of being disciplined, or you can pay the price of regret. You're going to pay one or the other. Pick. Number 2, discipline, it's full time. It's 24/7, 365, no excuses, even when nobody else is keeping score. If that is the discipline to get up at 5, make your bed and have a good breakfast and go to work and show up powerfully, serve your team, okay, and drive transformation and get results, then you're going to get the rewards of that, okay? If you're disciplined in one area, you need to take that same discipline and apply it to all areas of your life, because this is the other part of that rule. If you're lazy in one area, that lazy side will sneak in and it will destroy your self-discipline. Okay, consistency cannot be inconsistent. So you've got to train your mind, you've got to create a set of standards and a personal code of conduct. When you work for a company, you get given a contract which stipulates we expect these things from you. When you work for yourself, what I did was I wrote myself a job description and I wrote myself a contract. So I've actually got there something that I can measure myself against, because it's very easy when you're self-employed, when you're an entrepreneur, to set your own hours, take a 3-hour lunch break. But I chose to leverage the discipline and the structures of being in the corporate world and bringing that into entrepreneurial mindset for myself. So I'm not only am I the CEO, I'm also the first employee of my company. So I have that mindset of these are my hours, these are my tasks, this is what I must do. This is the discipline. Okay, eat the frog first thing in the morning. The third lesson, if you are disciplined, you will be rewarded. Tony Robbins says that you are rewarded in public for what you've practiced and refined in private. And that is so true. So to get to be a great leader, you've got to have courage, you've got to have humility, and you've got to have discipline. And it's okay if you need help with all 3. I did. You see, I discovered one day, several years ago, that I was a meme. It was far from flattering. I was being compared to Mr. Bean. Now, I love Rowan Atkinson, but I've never thought to have my leadership compared to his iconic character. I mean, I don't wear a turkey on my head. I know how to drive. So don't end up as the cautionary tale. Don't end up as the ridicule meme. Okay, if you want to improve your leadership, then this is what you need to do, and do this right now. Okay, I want you to have the courage to pick up your phone, okay, and call 447838136934. I want you to have the humility to say, "Hi, Alec, it's," put your name in. "I'd love to become a better leader. How can you help me achieve that? And then I want you to have the discipline to commit to yourself, to the future version of you that you are willing to create. And I want you to do the work, and I want you to become the kind of leader that becomes a meme god. Immortalize your quote, your motto, your slogan, your picture, immortalized forever, okay, in a meme that people share and say, that's my boss. Yeah, not the Mr. Bean turkey on the head like me. So that's my Thursday thought for you today. Comments, likes, all that kind of stuff. You know what to do. Thanks ever so much. See you in a week's time.